Friends, welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's not difficult for you, but it's nice for me, and we're starting. I was sitting on a swing and watching a spider weave its web. There were a few minutes left before the start of the new day. This spider chose the bottom of a children's slide in a public park. Back and forth, she crossed the exit point of the slide. I admired the finished web. Such a complex creation was built overnight. You must have a plan. The spider did it, and he only needed to work once to dine like a king for the rest of his life. Okay, maybe there were some holes in his plan, but hey, who doesn't take risks doesn't win. I'm rooting for you, buddy. My plan is as ridiculous as yours, but I have a plan too. Only the spiders and crickets heard my voice. Today was Monday, and it was the first day of my plan. If everything goes according to plan, then soon at night we will see the last domino fall. My name is Blake Fall. I married Shauna shortly after we graduated from the University of Michigan. We both found jobs in the suburbs of Detroit. Our past is inexpressibly boring. Typical college students find each other, have tried others, and then come back to each other. I am a little insecure about myself, and this leads me to the land of jealousy. I can be a real asshole to Shauna. If I don't like the way she dresses or behaves in public, I explode at her, sometimes in public. It's not like she didn't know that. We talked endlessly about actions and consequences. Despite my shortcomings, Shauna agreed to marry me. No problem, right? Shauna and I are avid shooters. We have completed all the courses. Protective pistol courses, the NRA basic pistol course, and the courses required to obtain a concealed carry permit. We hold shooting tournaments at an indoor shooting range. Shauna has won the Annie Oakley Award for Best Female Shooter more than once. I'm not as bad, but I'm not as good as her either. The suburbs of Detroit have mostly great neighborhoods to live in. There are several where it is easier for the soul, knowing that she is nearby, armed and alert. We still attend a lot of games: football, basketball, and baseball. I played all three sports in high school, but in college I focused on my studies. The fact is that I am far from talented enough to compete in sports at the university level. Last Thursday, oh shit, it's going to take me forever to get home. I perked up when Greg, my colleague, banged his fist on the table. How do you know that, Greg? I'm looking at the traffic camera at the intersection of Highways 7 and 82. There is a pickup truck on its side and a car on top. There's no way this is going to be sorted out tonight. It must be seen. I walked over to Greg's office and looked at the screen. My stomach cramped. Shauna was standing next to the paramedics, her head wrapped in gauze. At least, I think it's her. She has a very distinctive tattoo on her left arm from shoulder to wrist. The people on the camera were too small to confirm my suspicions. Apparently, her flight to Chicago yesterday left without her. The truck lying on its side seemed familiar to me. Can I take pictures of this accident? What are you interested in? I think I recognize this truck. I need to go through my memory banks, but I know he's familiar to me. Greg shot the video and emailed it to me. After zooming in, I'm pretty sure it's Shauna. Yesterday's phone call is complete nonsense. Flight without incident, nice room, meetings went well, I miss you. Tomorrow is a hard day, late flight, don't wait for me. On the way home, I was completely distracted. What kind of fool have I been made out to be? How do I know this truck? Not a hint. The blue and yellow stripes on the truck were chasing me. Shauna called around 7 in the evening. I translated to the messages. Hi, baby. Bad news. My taxi to the airport was in an accident. I'm fine, but I still have a deep wound on my forehead. In short, I missed my flight. I'll let you know when I get there. Love you. Call me. My heart hasn't stopped beating since I first saw this photo. The utter betrayal makes my stomach twist into a knot, and flames burst out of my ears. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't eat. The unfolding emotions were killing me. Realizing that my marriage was a sham, I wanted to take revenge on both Shauna and her lover. I spent the next few hours looking around the house. Trying to find something, but not knowing what I was looking for was frustrating. Seething rage fueled my quest. Nothing caught my attention. My next step was to look at my credit card statements. Since Shauna travels at least twice a month, I decided that there must be some information in her purchases. In a way, I was right. Comparing her travels with the use of a credit card, Every second month, one of the trips did not use a credit card. On these trips, the only fee was parking at the airport. She uses her business credit card to buy tickets, hotels, and trips. Everything else is recorded on her personal card, and she submits an expense report. Am I supposed to believe that she paid in cash or just didn't eat on these trips? With what I saw on the traffic camera, it became clear. She organized a 2-day fest under the guise of a trip. I had to find out with whom. Heck, there's nothing complicated about it. I'll ask for a copy of the accident report. Shona keeps a filing cabinet with her important papers. I was wondering if her expense papers were anywhere. It is so organized that it took only a few minutes to find the right folder. One more minute to make sure that the trips, without using a credit card, were not registered in her expense account. I wanted to get drunk, but I knew I shouldn't do it. Does it matter how long it's been going on? Not quite. A cold, calculated betrayal. My revenge will be designed to match the depth of her deception. In a divorce, I will be fair. What choice do I have? She'll get her 50%. A prenuptial agreement? Yes, that's right. She'll get her 50%. Sleep came slowly, and coffee took longer to get my brain working in the morning. When I turned on the phone, there was a message from Shauna that she would be home later today. I went to work without even trying to call back. After searching the internet for divorce advice, I checked our joint accounts. I will need to open an account in my name only. It will be a little more difficult with a brokerage account. It was impossible to move positions, so I sold enough to reach the 50% mark. I'll come back and transfer my half when the time comes. Not wanting to take any chances, I did not talk to any of my friends, relatives, or colleagues about the upcoming divorce. At lunchtime, I received a copy of the police report on the incident. Now there is no doubt about it. There she is listed as an injured passenger of a pickup truck. I didn't recognize the name of the truck's owner, Ray Stronzo. It still puzzled me how I could recognize this stupid truck. At least I had the address of her lover. It was 3 blocks from where we lived. A quick online check issued an act to the address. The lover owned it with Jill Stronzo. It's probably his wife. Other web pages I found gave some personal information about both Ray and Jill. It looks like they both went to the same school as Shauna. When Shauna called at the end of the day, I decided it was better to answer, otherwise she would realize that something was wrong. You're back. I've been trying to reach you since last night. Everything is fine? I discovered that my phone was turned off this morning and again around lunchtime. I should probably take it and check it out. How was your trip? Everything was fine before the taxi ride. I'll have to put on makeup to hide the cut on my forehead. Will you invite a girl to dinner? Of course, although I don't have much appetite. Choose a place and I'll meet you there. I walked a long way to the restaurant. Driving past the Stronzo residence, I didn't notice the truck in front of the house. There was a flag hanging from the porch, and I understood what was going on. The flag of the University of Michigan. This is the same truck that we see at Michigan football games in Ann Arbor. That's why there are blue and yellow stripes on the truck. At dinner, I really tried to look normal, but Shauna felt that something was wrong. Is something bothering you, Blake? You look very distracted today. I have a lot of worries. Don't let it bother you. When Shauna started the nightly ritual of removing makeup, I climbed into bed and pretended to be asleep. In the morning, when I left for work, Shauna was fast asleep. I rummaged through her car and found a cell phone hidden in the back seat cushions. Turning it on and scrolling through the text confirmed that Shauna and Ray had been doing this for months, if not longer. Well, children, I do not know what your punishment will be, but you will have to pay for it. I'm not violent. I can't imagine doing anything physical with both of them. Creative thinking was required. I decided that meeting with a lawyer would be detrimental to my plan. I was completely stunned when I found out about her affair. If my plan comes to fruition, I will have to act quickly to protect what I can. I bought what I needed and spent the weekend avoiding Shauna. I got up early on Monday morning and spent some time in the park. I needed to make sure that the path I really wanted to follow was chosen. Shauna's dilemma. I thought I had everything under control until that phone call. Monday morning is always a busy time at work. I answer several calls per hour. My office phone rang. The caller ID was showing private. This is Shauna. I know what you're doing to Ray. I want to participate. The quiet voice belonged to a man. The voice had an annoyingly high nasal tone. He hung up before I could answer. I was not myself for the rest of the day and the whole evening. One of our nightly activities was a cup of hot tea. It seems to relax us both. Blake always drinks it before going to bed. Blake seemed worried. Are you sure you're okay? You're really acting like something's bothering you today. I'm fine. It's just that something at work pisses me off. I need to think about other things. Do you know anything that could keep a girl busy for a while? I wish I could say that we were making love, but I felt like Blake was using me. He wiggled his finger inside me a few times until I started to show moisture, then slammed bang, and that's it. I came to the conclusion that they were not going to blackmail me. I'll wait and see what the result is. I had nightmares about Blake finding out. Thinking about it convinced me not to see Ray anymore. This is Shona. The same voice as before. Are you ready to come and please me? No. And this time I hung up the phone. No more than a minute later. This is Shona. That evening at home, I started paying bills and organizing fees. How did he sneak in here in the middle of the night? Is this Ray's friend? Is this Ray's enemy? This voice is not familiar to me. I would have remembered that annoying sound. Blake, do you think we can lock the outside doors? I think so. What made you bring this up? I just heard about the recent break-ins. I don't want anyone to break into our house when we're at home. I'll put it on the to-do list. I didn't get a good night's sleep. Every little creak that the house made scared me. In the morning, I tried my best to come to my senses. My nightmare continued. This is Shona. The voice I was so afraid of. Nice pajamas last night. No injections. Are you ready to become my slave? Who are you? What do you want? You know what I want. Is it you or me? Come to my house, you idiot. I'm going to put a hole the size of a tennis ball in your chest. There was no response. I asked for and got a 2-hour lunch break. I was in a complete mess. Who can I contact? I kept my affair with Ray a secret from everyone. It's not right, is it? From everyone except at least one stalker. Blake was using me again. Now I wonder if he knows anything. We don't make love anymore. Maybe we haven't made love in a long time. I was so engrossed in making love with Ray that I probably missed my home personal life. Lack of sleep is starting to take its toll on me. Blake, I think I'm sick of something. I'll be sleeping in the guest bedroom, so you won't get anything. No, no, no. I like the rigidity of the bed in the guest bedroom. I'll sleep there. Blake, I've had nightmares. I'll keep the gun with me at night. Warn me before you enter the bedroom. I'll do it. I don't need Annie Oakley to do a number with me. Why don't I put a handle on the bedroom door? I'll put it on the to-do list. Sleep tight. Now I'm really wondering if Blake knows anything. What is this sleep tight? He always ended his goodbyes with the words, I love you. When was the last time I heard I love you? After Blake left for the guest bedroom, I pulled a chair up to my bedroom door. I put some trinkets on the windowsill and shoved the gun under Blake's pillow. Hopefully, if my stalker shows up tonight, he'll make enough noise to wake me up and I'll blow his ass off. This is Shona. Well, I popped in, but I don't see a hole in my chest. Beautiful trinkets. I took a few of them. With Blake in the other bedroom, maybe I can drug him with illegal substances, then you and I can have a good time. The headboard of the bed should be perfect for handcuffs. He hung up before I could react. I rushed home for lunch, and damn it, 3 trinkets were missing. I rushed to my toilet. What the hell did I get myself into? If I go to the police, Blake will find out about my affair. What choice do I have? I have to tell someone. I'm not going to be a toy for some stalkers. Ray wanted to meet tonight, but I talked him out of it. I have a disposable phone that I keep in the car, and I use it to communicate with Ray. I told him we needed to cool off now. His texts indicated that he was unhappy with this decision. I don't know if the stalker found me following Ray. I'm so scared and confused. Should I just obey him? How will it end? Maybe I should tell Blake and ask him for help. My poor performance was noticed by my immediate supervisor. I got the standard pep talk. It's so embarrassing. I've never needed this before. As I walked into his office, I felt his eyes on me and heard him giggle. I cried for an hour before Blake came home. I cleaned up and put on some fresh makeup before joining him for dinner. After hanging a few bells on the window and door, I felt a little calmer. Try sneaking in here now. You pervert. On Friday morning, I tried my best to be productive. It only lasted until his call. This is Shona. Very nice with the bells. You made me worry for a minute, but you slept through it all. Did you see that I emptied your gun and put the bullets on the windowsill? I need Blake. I can't do this alone. If I tell him, I'll still have to do it alone. What a mess. The weekend is not coming soon. At least he won't torment me at work. Damn, what if he's going to do something to me this weekend? I wasn't in the mood for love, and Blake was perfectly happy avoiding me. Since the trip was scheduled for next Wednesday, I didn't know whether to agree or cancel. When is this fool going to come after me? Is he sick enough to follow me down the road? Blake was fast asleep when I finished taking a shower on Saturday morning. He never sleeps late. I shook him a few times before he came to his senses. He sat down and looked at me somewhat dumbfounded. Wow, am I really not myself today? What time is it now? It's almost 9 o'clock. Are you feeling all right? Rubbing his neck, he shuddered. My neck hurts. I looked and saw a spider bite or something similar on his neck. It looks like you've been bitten. Let me get you a Band-Aid. The rest of the morning was filled with the usual weekend chores. Around lunchtime, Blake went to get Jamba Juice. My cell phone rang, and the number was private. My mother hides all her calls, so I answered. Hello. I tried a tranquilizer dart on Blake last night. I can see that he's alive, so I think we can move on. I'll get some KI for your ass. I pressed the button. I was shaking. My legs were giving way. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't contain my stomach. I sprayed half a can of deodorant to completely hide the evidence. I have to tell Blake. I can't go on like this. I can't tell Blake. I'm so confused. Why did I do it at all? Sunday was no better than Saturday. Every time the phone rang, my blood pressure jumped. When I answered the private call, he was there again. Blake was working on a mower in the backyard. Hello. Time's up, Shauna. The next time you're alone, you'll be my fool. And the connection was gone before I could answer. I was sweating and shaking. Sooner or later, I'll be alone in the house. I can't take it anymore. The day dragged on. I glanced nervously at my watch. I didn't feel like sleeping today. Just before I went to sleep, my world turned upside down. I have to run back to the office. I won't be gone more than 90 minutes. Please don't go, Blake. Can't it wait until morning? I'm going away for a while. See you soon. I made sure all the doors and windows were locked. After closing the bedroom door and hanging up the bells, I sat on the bed with the light on. Grabbing the gun from under my pillow, I checked the magazine and made sure it was loaded. My heart started pounding and I panicked when I heard the floor creak. I hesitated, pointing the gun at the door and window. When the doorbell rang, I fired. I heard a groan and fired again and again and again. The door flew open and a body dressed in black fell face down. I was shaking and looked down to see that I had urinated in the bed. I was shaking so much that I could hardly use my cell phone. 911. What happened to you? I just shot someone in my house. I have a gun pointed at the body. I'm afraid to approach him. Try to stay calm, ma'am. Can you give me your address? 5 minutes later, although it seems like hours have passed, the first patrol car arrived. An ambulance and several paramedics arrived a minute later. Half an hour later, the place was swarming with police. I wanted Blake. I needed Blake. Where the hell is Blake? Our state has a do-it-yourself law. Uninvited guests in your house? Kill them as you see fit. If the uninvited guest died, the investigation was closed. Paramedics quickly took the man to the hospital. He lost a lot of blood, but he was alive. Blake is sitting and waiting. I told Shona I was going to the office. Once in the garage, I put on latex gloves. I found Shauna's disposable phone in her car, copied the message that had pissed me off earlier, and sent it to Ray. It has not changed, as it did a few months ago. The time sent was almost exactly the same as it was then. I put her phone back where I took it. I turned onto the street and waited for the only light in her bedroom to turn on. I only had to wait a few minutes. I went back and unlocked the front door. I hurried away and soon found myself in my office. We have a lot of security cameras, and I need my access card to get through the gate to the building and then to my office. I turned on the computer, but I just sat and thought, will it really work? As soon as I developed my plan, I bought a disposable phone and downloaded a voice masking app. I could feel the panic in Shauna's behavior that first night at home. Every night I put sleeping pills in her hot tea. When she went to bed, she passed out. The panic in her voice on the second day was exactly what I had hoped for. She was unconscious every night, so I could make a lot of noise and she wouldn't move. On Friday evening, I got up around 3 a.m. and pierced a hole in the back of my head with a safety pin. When I found the blood, I washed away the traces of the safety pin. After taking 3 sleeping pills, I quickly passed out. I thought about a text written a few months earlier that angered me. I figured it was time for me to go home in about an hour, or when the police would call. An hour meant that the plan had not worked. The police will mean success. I got a call on my cell phone. "This is Blake." "Mr. Fole? Who is this?" "Sir, this is Sergeant Willis. There was a shooting in your house. Your wife is unharmed, although badly shaken. Will you be able to come home and comfort her?" "I'm on my way. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Who doesn't like it when a plan comes together?" When I arrived home, I found that the neighborhood was flooded with red and blue flashing lights. Making my way past the sentries, I entered my house. When Shona saw me, she jumped to her feet. She hugged me tightly and started sobbing. Detective Sampson sat down across from Shauna and me. "Mrs. Fole, the intruder's name is Ray Stronzo. Do you know him?" "Oh my God, no." "Oh shit. I'm so sorry, Blake." "Oh my God," and cried uncontrollably. "I'm sorry, Detective. My wife is obviously upset about all this. Give her a minute to calm down." "Okay, let's try it again. You seem to know Ray Stronzo, don't you? We went to high school together." Around this time, the officer tapped Detective Sampson on the shoulder and whispered in his ear. He got up and left the room for a minute. I tried my best to look shocked when he came back and started talking. "Mrs. Fole, I'm going to take you in for questioning." "Officer, please handcuff her." "Shauna Fole, you have the right to remain silent." "What's going on, Detective?" "We found his cell phone. Your wife invited him tonight. We need to find out something." "What the fuck?" "Oh, you fool. Blake, I didn't do anything like that. Please don't leave. I need you." "You are welcome." I left the house without looking back. It was all I could do to keep from grinning. I watched from the driveway as they took Shauna away. She was still begging, "Help me, Blake." "You are welcome. Help me." "No, you're not a random fool. It's just a matter of time until they find your phone and the message you sent inviting Ray to come over." I made sure they locked the house after the yellow tape was in place. I spent the night at a motel. Even the most outrageous plans have a chance to work. Shauna used her one call to get her parents involved. The police obtained a search warrant and found Shauna's disposable phone. With the history of these disposable phones talking and texting each other, it didn't look good for Shauna. My first call was to start the divorce process. Finances have been identified and documented. Shauna will get her 50%, but I won't have to pay her legal fees for attempted first-degree murder. I took 50% in cash from our shared accounts. I opened an account in my name only and changed my direct salary deposit to use this account. The brokerage account was easy as half of it was in cash. The divorce lawyer settled everything before Ray started any legal action. It was good, he assured me. As soon as the yellow ribbon was removed, I packed up all of Shauna's belongings and took them to her parents' house. I hired professionals to clean the house. My lawyer accompanied me to the only interrogation that the police invited me to. She tried to convince them that I set her up. It was the only thing that made any sense to her, since she was telling them that she hadn't sent that last message. When they asked if there was information about the cell tower on her phones, they replied that there was, and this corresponded to my story and their assumption that she was a cold-blooded criminal. Obviously, Annie Oakley is suffocating under pressure. Only 2 of the 5 bullets hit the flesh. One tore open her stomach, destroying her kidney. The other one hit the right ear. I think I can live with that, even though I was hoping for more of all this gun training. The epilogue. I watched from the gallery as she defended her case. She was harassed, but she didn't tell anyone about her affair. She never sent that message. My husband must have known and set me up. The press found out that she had been offered a plea deal. I think her overconfidence in her ability to handle the situation got the better of her again. Guilty. 20 years old. I didn't wait for the divorce to start sleeping with just anyone. There are many female fans who are ready to help a horny husband as soon as his wife is serving time. Shona's assets were depleted pretty quickly, fighting for her freedom. I was not on the hook, and even if Ray had tried to sue, there were no joint assets with any significant value. It didn't make sense to pay a lawyer to get a moral victory, so no trial ever took place. I really need help dealing with jealousy.